Hello, I'm Timothy Linsdau. I'm a video producer and a Christian. Today I'm putting on my creation science hat in the frenzy fight that goes on between creationists and evolutionists. So as the battle continues, Institution of Creation Research has an article out, and it's titled "Another Failure to Create Life's Origins" by Jeffrey Tomkins, Ph.D. It says a new study by NASA scientists have just been published where researchers did nothing more than convert a precursor chemical into a single type of amino acid. Despite the simplicity of the experiment and the lack of anything helpful to evolution being found, the popular media exclaimed that the scientists were able to recreate the origins of life. Now remember, media is a circus. It's about attracting an audience, and they will do whatever it takes. So, in reality, the only thing shocking about this news story is the blatant absurdity of the claim. From start to finish, the whole evolutionary story of life is void of empirical support. To get that point across, there are no transitional fossils in existence. I know they try to say one fossil or another is a link, but you're going to have thousands, if not millions, of links per species, and there's none of that shows up. Anyway, one of evolution's greatest hurdles is the fundamental problem of how life could begun. Now, a cell requires DNA and RNA and proteins in a complex interlocking system in which each biomolecule depends on the other to both exist and function. They must be together. And since each type of biomolecule contains complex encoded information, then an intelligent agent is the only logical source for existence, not random chance processes. Many different types of experiments have been conducted over the last 60 years in attempts to recreate molecular building blocks of life under so-called primitive conditions. But these experiments have failed. As I have described in length in previous articles, this author writes. And now we have another headline in the news making claims of success in solving the mystery of life's initial origins. In the story describing the study, the author states, a new NASA study has recreated the origins of life, building the ocean's floors from 4 billion years ago as humanity attempts to understand how life started. Earth and where else it might be found, as we shall see, this extravagant claim entirely false. Now NASA's just turned into this evolution preaching entity to continue their budgets and support. I don't know why. It's interesting enough just to get out there and see what's out there and look at it logically. Look for evidence of what exists. I mean, pick up a rock. This is a rock. What's it made out of? Something real you can see and look at and test. Not something you're guessing at that nobody has ever seen, ever will see, or ever has seen. No spontaneous formation of life is occurring in this experiment. Now, the research in the study utilized the organic compound pyruvate, which is in a reaction with a specialized form of iron called oxyhydroxide. Now, under human engineered and controlled conditions, the researchers were able to get the reaction to produce the amino acid alanine. In other words, only one of the 20 amino acids needed for proteins in a real living cell was produced. The media claimed it recreated the origins of life. Not even close. Now, even worse than this, he's saying because living cells only produce and use left-handed chiral variants of amino acids, the study did not indicate what type was produced. Most likely it was a mixture of both left and right-handed molecules, which would be completely useless for life. So on we go. Does it ever end? Well, adding to the origin of life absurdly surrounding this research was the fact that starting compound pyruvate or pyruvic acid is typically only produced in living cells in a metabolic pathway starting with glucose. On top of that, the reaction with iron oxyhydroxide could only productively take place at a controlled alkaline pH and a temperature of 158 degrees Fahrenheit, which they did do. They did get the temperature right. Now, looking at the details of the research paper itself, the overall value of this effort to advancing the evolutionary agenda is effectively zilch. So much for the hype, according to this author and Ph.D., a scientist himself, making this argument that they've just created another ring in the three-ring circus for the media to jump on and make news. And it is. But it's a circus, and it goes on and on and on. Will it ever end? No, probably not. And I believe evolution is the worst falsehood ever foisted on human beings. The wreck science everywhere. It's divided us in so many ways. It supports more death than anything. Evolution is part of evolution is involved in abortion and euthanasia, survival of the fittest. All that stuff is coming from that. And sadly enough, people have invested so much time, education, and money in evolutionary research. And in the end, what do you get? Documentaries for PBS and more strange theories that's presented in museums, and it's just a fundraiser for what? Nothing. No examples, nothing repeatable, no transitional fossils. And even if you know all this stuff, what does it fix? What does it solve? Nothing. It just becomes a tool to fight the Word of God. That's all it does, to try to refute the Word of God. Even confusing Christians, bringing them into false science. On and on it goes. Any of you out there that, go to a museum, look at a fossilized saber cat. Look at their teeth. You'll see these perfectly serrated teeth. And do you see any weird transition in that fossil anywhere?
That doesn't sound good.
No, you don't find it in there. It just goes on and on. Nothing repeatable. Nobody's ever seen it. Nobody will ever see it. The evidence shows that a genius made this from the ground up. That's what the evidence shows. The best pattern is in the Bible. That is where you're going to see how creation was made. All of it. That is where you're really going to see it. So those of you who want to continue down that path, maybe you're getting some good money, grants, opportunities to make a living, but you're really not proving anything and you're supporting a lie. I hate to tell you that, but that's where you're at. And you won't solve anything, you won't fix anything, you won't come up with any new medicine or new things that we could use to benefit our lives. It's not going to happen. So there you are. I recommend Institution of Creation Research, organizations like them and Answers in Genesis. Look them up, challenge them all you want. They'll take the challenge on if you're willing. If you're not willing to take on the challenge to your beliefs, do you really believe them? Or are you just hiding behind the inquisition that is evolution? It is supported by an inquisition. No different than the Spanish Inquisition in the Christian church at the time. The church was never to be forced on anyone. That was their error. And in science, evolution is making a parallel error at least. So think about it. Challenge these guys. Enjoy your day. I'm Timothy Linsdau. Like and comment on my video. And subscribe to my channel. Thank you.